We are live. This is the market update. What is going on in Eastern Europe, and is it affecting crypto? Well, the answer to that is yes, and it will scare everybody for 3 days, maybe, right? And then everybody will go back to business as usual. Now you're like, well, Bill, I don't believe you. Okay, well, fair enough, but you have to also consider how many times we've had the geopolitical awfulness in the past. Looks terrible. Everyone gets afraid. Everyone sells. And unless it's a giant mushroom cloud the next day, it gets resolved. Now, in this case, with the geopolitical situation, I don't know. I mean, me and the Eagle King, he explained it to me how, clever this particular event was. You got a lot of planes out on runways, a lot of static targets. I don't know. It doesn't make me want to bail out of crypto. However, it can create headline risk. And since we're all done liquidating big leverage day traders, because you know how much I love that stuff, we have a setup here for people to puke crypto right into your hands. Now, if you'd like to find out more about that, if you want to find out how we can look at 10 Michael Saylor tweets, and at the end of every Michael Saylor tweet, we can say, this could be a time to look at Ethereum or Solana or XRP, right? Because everyone thinks it's Bitcoin only. And believe it or not, we're going to look at something in a minute. Gold is doing twice as good as Bitcoin for the year. Now, not that I don't think Bitcoin's going much higher, but we really got to ask ourselves, hey, when this thing turns around and goes up and the dollar goes down, and we will talk about that, what is going to give you the most bang for your buck? That's crypto, that's altcoins, that's big altcoins. Yeah, I know it's not a shocking revelation to say, can big cat cryptos 10x over the next year and a half? Is that so crazy? I don't think it is. We'll talk about it. All right, let's welcome all our friends who are here. We have DH, Tyler, what's up? Jav, SG, the guy who was here from the beginning. Ben, Tooth, Lee, what's up? Pengu coming back to life. Zepedas, Jacob, and Neff from Kaizen Central. All right, people, let's go. News. What do we got? Lots. Inflation is in full retreat. I'll buy that. Wages are soaring. If you say so. I don't know that that's true, but I do know that inflation-related wage adjustments are happening. I guess you can credit that to people don't want to make the White House upset. But the labor market is cautious, which, again, is really good for the interest rate outlook, not good for humanity. So, learn to code. Now, a slight fireside chat digression that's very important. Everyone's like, Bill, we need a trading course. We need a course on TA. We need a course on macro. We need a course on everything. Can you give us a course? Yeah, one day I'll give you a course. But here's a great course. You want the course? I'll give you the course. Avoid groupthink at all costs, right? If everyone thinks the same thing, something else happens. Bob Farrell, the first professional technical analyst at Wall Street, kind of a guy whose stuff I read as a 12-year-old. Yeah, I know. That's kind of crazy. Groupthink. What was the groupthink 10 years ago? Oh, you got to learn to code. Every summer camp, every kid. No baseball for you. No football, no soccer, no basketball, no cricket, nothing. You go learn Python, because Python is going to be the thing that gets you a job, right? I know a 50-year-old guy that quit a math teaching job at a high school to go to a Python school. It's what I call it. that was so sure you were going to get a job that they let you in free. And they said, well, we have a payment plan for when you get employed. You just make payments on your job because you're going to get a job coding, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't think so. Learn to code backfires spectacularly, as all groupthink does. As all groupthink does, especially when it's groupthink about the really big ideas, right? Right. Back in 2000, things get a little crazy in crypto. 2017, Tom Brady paying $600,000 for a Bored Ape. Groupthink. Everyone's like, oh, you should definitely learn to code. And I was like, no, you should do YouTube. And they were like, you're crazy. I'm like, oh, okay. Avoid groupthink. You don't know what groupthink is? Go to a barbershop, go to a diner, ask. If 9 out of 10 people say the same thing, that's the groupthink. 2025 total returns. Gold up 25%. That's insane. Bitcoin is up 12. Silver is up 14. Now, the number on this that jumps out at me is that the dollar is only down 7. Dollar should be down 27%, literally. So this number is too low. So this number is too low. It's too low, right? I mean, the dollar has to go down 30%. How's it going to do that? Well, it's going to do it versus Bitcoin because it's already doing it versus gold and silver. So this little thing will tell you a lot. Now, I'm going to tell you something else that's hysterical. Okay. QQQ. The stock index we love to hate. So first, it was over for the Magnificent Seven. They were never going to be able to jump over the bar again. I bought into some of that. The whole market goes down, then the whole market comes back, and I go, well, it's probably in a range. That's it. That's the year. It's done. Now, everybody's like, wait a minute. We need to FOMO back into the tech stocks. I'm like, okay. Well, first of all, I don't think that makes any sense. Second of all, I have an idea. What happens if, I don't know, a month from now, NASDAQ is up 12%? That they actually do FOMO back into these tech stocks, and there is some sort of earnings or AI justification. So you got a lot of things on this chart. QQQ could do well because after all, folks, a dollar in QQQ is better than a dollar in the bank. You put a dollar in the bank, it's like you might as well just write a check to Jamie Dimon and send it in. Like you're losing the purchasing power of your money, obviously. So some things there to keep in mind. Now, on groupthink, so I'm like, well, if equities do go up, great. If equities don't go up, great. You have to be wildly optimistic to believe that corporate profits as a percentage of what we generate for any sustained period can hold much above 6%. So corporate profits as a percentage of GDP are now at 12%. Corporations making tons of money. Orange Man wants to give them a corporate tax cut, which is interesting. Okay. So again, this is Warren Buffett's 6% line. Yeah, we'd be living in a real interesting world if it went back down there. Again, Bitcoin at its most conservative. There's also my little cyberpunk thing. Like, yeah, QQQ can go back up, but if it does, I want to be long what I want to do the cyberpunk trade, which is antivirus, privacy, and what crypto was before we had things like the corporate Bitcoin conference, which I understand was really fun, but not very edgy. And I'm staying edgy. U.S. money supply hit an all-time high. Well, of course it did. There's no liquidity or no bid in our government debt market. So that's it. They just have to absorb it with printed money. That is it. Elon Musk said we're going to cut $1 trillion. They cut 160 billion, maybe. And he's never going to be seen again. And they want to add $2 trillion to the deficit. And everyone's telling me crypto's going lower because of a geopolitical event. No. No. If there is a definitive geopolitical event, as in kaboom, it'll be over. That's it. It's done. Seriously. That's how I'm thinking of it. It's like, oh yeah, you know what? This is so bad, it could actually end. Meanwhile, they can't absorb the debt. Period. Okay, someone explain this to me. Gabbard says U.S. speech shows commitment to peace after the Secretary of Defense comes out and says we're going to have an issue in Asia. These guys, I don't know. Their Zoom license expired. They can't all get together on some kind of thing. Here is the issue in Eastern Europe. So, yeah, a lot of stuff went kaboom over the weekend. And crypto, which honestly wanted to go up because they liquidated everybody, right? They liquidated everybody. And supposedly, oh my God, stop it. Sometimes I think this is a psyop. Okay. So I don't know. This guy's just got infinite money. He's a 40x. This guy, James Wynn, 40x leveraged long at 104. You know, it's not a bad idea in a day or two. Like, don't do this now. Don't do 40x. You let it bottom, you buy it, and then you add the 40x on the way up. Because you know if it does turn, you know it's going to blow through the high. It's just, you know, I don't like this public hyperbole at all. Okay. Gold. Well, everyone who didn't buy it is now panicking. And there's a very important thing for crypto in here. That's if you don't buy it when it's down, they don't give you many chances. You got to buy it when it's down. Gold was down for like, what? 2 weeks? Now it's FOMO time. Gold and oil are up, and the dollar has to go lower anyway. So now you have a geopolitical reason to buy commodities, and it's a way to devalue the dollar. The best way to devalue the dollar is to moon crypto. I'm telling you, I know everyone's like, okay, here comes Bill with his like little speech about the dollar. And here comes Bill with his speech about cyberpunk and privacy. But you just wait, because Michael Saylor did it. He had conviction. He stayed with it. And again, this guy, 1 minute it's peace. Now it's absolutely brilliant. Sovereigns, do they have your best interest at heart? Morgan Stanley sees deeper dollar decline. Wow. What would we do without investment banks to tell us these things? Really? Stock market's up. Everything's fine. Stock market's down. We're in a recession. Stock market's back up. QQQ is going to make a new high. We have to all buy it. Dollar's down 7%. Oh, yeah, it's going to collapse. Okay. Again, in the past, this is what you would talk about if you were a macro, legacy, whatever guy. Now, believe it or not, you act like an 18-year-old. You get yourself a print shirt, you red light, you go on YouTube and you act like an 18-year-old. And you buy crypto, you buy Moonpig, whatever. The dollar is going down through crypto going up. Okay, so this guy, before he went 40x long, was liquidated. CNBC says retail investors haven't even started buying Bitcoin yet. That could be true. Except, everyone on CNBC is over the age of 70. So, we don't know. We don't know if it's their demographic or in general. But yeah, the general public is not FOMOing into crypto. No one is. No one's interested, which is why I'm interested. Bitcoin mining is becoming a geopolitical arms race. Maybe. Or there's all these companies sitting around out there that are so cheap. Once the stablecoin acquisition frenzy starts, mining is next. Mining's next. Ethereum whale increases long to $75 million. And as I understand it, BlackRock bought a bunch of Ethereum. They sold Bitcoin to buy it. Vitalik says ETH will scale L1 10x in a year. And you know what? Even if that's not true, good for Vitalik for getting out there with some kind of narrative. I don't know what they were going to wait for. Were they going to wait for it to go to zero? Thank God they didn't do that. Michael Saylor says, if people knew what I knew, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. That means Mike knows it's hard money. You can't print it. He knows the administration has to buy it to back the debt and the currency, which was something that RFK talked about at length. And you've heard me talk about it. And yeah, I know, but it mattered. That's what's he talking about? That's what he's talking about. Right? He's talking about this hyper conviction that, sovereigns are going to literally have to buy it. Have to. Right? And have to buy something is a lot different than wanting to buy something. So Mike says Bitcoin will surge to 180 and then crash to 140, and then people will freak out. Those are very interesting numbers. I have not heard 180 and 140 floated. Sometimes I wonder if they're the ones who move it around. Okay, but Mike is right. You get these flushes in crypto, and a 25% flush in Bitcoin has everyone headed for the door in alts, and everybody wants it to be 2021 or 2017, and they want it to be easy. And I'm here to tell you it's not going to be easy. But it's going to be humongous, but it's not going to be easy. Right? And that's how like go back to groupthink, right? Everyone's like, well, groupthink is I got to, it's going to go up and I got to dump on everybody before it goes down. Now, the new thing is you got to hold it. You got to Michael Saylor, whatever your position is. You got to hope you got something right. I mean, if you're trying AI and layer ones in the future of money, you got to shoot your shot. You've heard that speech from me already. You're just going to have to wait. And if you wait, you're going to win. You're going to win huge. Stock market was the same thing. All this stuff, right? Everyone's like, oh, the Magnificent Seven. Yeah, they weren't. It wasn't the Magnificent Seven 15 years ago. It's like a bunch of like apps. Oh, this isn't a company. This isn't a stock. This is an app. What do they own? Oh, okay. 15 years later, hello. Crypto is not going to be 15 years later. It's probably going to be more like 18 months. It's going to be like, massively higher. I discussed the rise of Bitcoin treasury companies. Okay. So there isn't going to be any such thing as a Bitcoin treasury company. It's going to be obsolete, right? Dollar, euro, yen, Swiss franc, right? Dollar, euro, yen, Swiss franc, sterling. Shame on me. Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, XRP, and I don't know. Maybe the Trump coin. Maybe something we haven't seen yet. Maybe Moonpig. I'm not long Moonpig. You get what I'm saying. The market will invent its own dollar alternatives. We have $5 alternatives in fiat. We have more than that, but there's going to be 5 big ones in crypto, and they're absurdly undervalued. Like somebody picked up on this on Twitter, right? The Magnificent Seven is valued at $17 trillion. $17 trillion. And altcoins are valued at $200 billion. That's the market update. Michael Saylor is like, hey, Joe Rogan, let's talk about Bitcoin. I'm like, hey, Joe Rogan, go interview the artificial intelligence version of John McAfee. How about that? I mean, I would like to see Michael Saylor on Joe Rogan too. Orange is my preferred color. When it was down here, before the Bitcoin ETF, it wasn't that fun, right? Because he's been buying it all the way up. This is just insane FOMO on his part. Insane. This should help give you conviction, right? He doesn't care what happens. He's doing it, period. Right? But, I mean, the number of Michael Saylor tweets after this, your portfolio needs a strategy. Look at Apple get smacked. Oof. Saylor Bitcoin buying strategy exploding globally. Ooh, oh my God. Stop it. Get away from me. See, I hate this, right? This, CNBC, Communist Business Channel. Yay, Bitcoin. Oh God. Guys are like, yeah, I'm 40x long in the middle of a geopolitical event. I'm like, please stop it. Now, the good news is you're going to get the price. You may get the prices that you want. You may get juicy prices with stuff like this. But again, groupthink, hyperbole, right? Oh, CNBC says Bitcoin's a great idea. And then watch, there's some stupid event and you wind up getting it really cheap. Or there's just general uncertainty or it slumps and then people talk themselves out of it and then it turns itself around like that. I decided to take a break from perp trading 3 hours before I entered in 40x levered long. Gold and Bitcoin have decoupled from real interest rates. We are witnessing a stampede into hard money, meaning anything that pays a dividend or interest is done. It's like coffee grinds, you spill on the floor and the central bank has to come in and vacuum it up. It's a dollar devaluation and no one talks about that. I mean, it's funny. If I had gone on the stage and said at the Bitcoin conference, the only way out of a debt crisis is to devalue the currency, and the only way to devalue the currency the way it needs to be is through Bitcoin, it'd go to 120 because everyone just pick up their phone and hit the green button because it's obvious to me. And all you have to do is show people a graph like new record Bitcoin hash rate. Oh, Jesus, look at this. They don't want to have they don't want to buy the mining stocks. I must be crazy. 21 ways to wealth. The keynote presentation by Saylor will be relative for the next 1,000 years. See, again, love Mike, love the ideas. The next 1,000 years, bro, are we even going to be here? You know what I'm saying? It's like you get this kind of hyperbole, and the way I say it is it gives you some time, maybe a day or two. Hopefully not more than that, right? BlackRock sold 4,100 Bitcoin and bought 27,000 ETH. Okay. And Mike is back in today. So Mike is like in 104 or 106. This is also something that we've talked about on the stream where, you know, the broker dealers or whoever it is sells Michael Saylor the Bitcoin at 104 and then immediately drops the market to try to get the crypto that they sold out. They try to reload their inventory by leaning on the market. I mean, literally it happens every single time. I mean, you know, Mike didn't talk about this in his 21 ways to wealth. You know, don't lever 40x when he's buying. So they drop the market and then it goes back up. This guy. Okay, so I as I've said, Jamie Dimon says the U.S. government should not be stockpiling Bitcoin. We should be buying beer bait and ammo, not Bitcoin. Okay. So it's all going to be done by computers and robots. So I don't know why we need tanks and planes because they can get blown up very easily. Rare earth metals, I get it. But, you know, and Jamie, his company has this huge bet against Uncle Sugar's debt, as I'm sure a lot of these grumpy old men types do. I don't know. It's groupthink. You know, in 2005, 2006, it was super edgy to be like, yeah, man, we're going to get hedged like the Big Short. It's going to blow up. Everyone's like, no, everything's fine. Now, I don't know, man. Everybody works at Wall Street. Everybody in a suit. Ray Dalio. Everybody said the same thing. If everyone says it's going to blow up, it's not going to blow up. That's why Bitcoin is here. That's why crypto is here, right? So every time these guys like, oh, treasuries, you know, it's all gonna get nuked. It's all gonna go to zero. I'm gonna imitate the big Goldman bet in 2005 and go down in history. Wrong. I mean, there may be a problem in the government bond market. I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong about that, but the market's reaction is going to be to move to a different system. Period. It may not even be. It may not be as scary as you think. It might actually be fun because it's like we're done with this. We're doing something different. They can't stop that. They absolutely can't stop it. This bothers me. Men in decline. Gen Z rebrands laziness at stay-at-home sons. Okay. So I know a couple of Gen Z kids, and no one's offering them any hope, right? No one's saying, hey, let me sit down and show you this. I think these kids should pop their phones open. And I know that a lot of it is irresponsible zaniness, but who cares? You could be irresponsible, zany, and might learn something that you could be useful and save you from Skynet, or you could be a stay-at-home son. And I'm like, you know what? Let's open up the Solana Casino, Ski Mask Dog, Moon Pig, whatever it is you own. Let's go. Let's get these kids involved today. We do not need grumpy old men discouraging these kids. We don't. It's like it's a philosophical reason to be long and want to get longer. What do you think is going to happen when these kids discover some form of gaming that involves crypto? Stay-at-home sons? Really? No way, man. Bitcoin exchange reserves hit an all-time low. Okay. That's because all the Bitcoin is probably being traded in the over-the-counter market, but it's a nice chart. Now, a brief word about AI and what's really going on out there and your urgency in crypto. Not going to get off this topic. And it's a great, great headline. So the Orange Man says, tech firm Palantir, if I have that right, to create a master database on every American citizen. Wow. Peter Thiel, who founded the company, mentored JD Vance. What do you know? Now, aside from standard grift and, politicians and their buddies and, okay, yeah. So a reminder, sovereigns don't necessarily have your interest at heart. That's the obvious. Here's the not obvious. Why would anyone allow this, really? Let me tell you why. Because Silicon Valley has informed the Orange Man, and it's obvious that they're out of data to train models. They've scanned every library book. They've inputted the entire internet. They're spending, I don't know, they're spending $4 trillion a year collectively to build data centers, right? It's not ridiculous, right? Every big tech company is spending like $300 billion to build these things. So where are they going to get the data from? Well, you either give us everyone's user data, like, for example, Twitter, right? Paying you nothing and telling you have to produce all kinds of content, and all the other platforms are doing the same thing. We're not moving your stuff. We're not going to give you followers or customers unless you give us absurd amounts of content. They're out of data. They're out of data. So you either give us what you talked about over breakfast, or we start making it up ourselves like the Chinese, and the Orange Man gave them the data. That is the world we are now living in. No. Should that make you upset? No. It should motivate you. Because this isn't funny, right? This is not what they talked about. This is not the dawn of the new era. This is, I don't know. You got to find yourself a small cap AI play. You got to find yourself a big cap crypto. You got to shoot your shot. You must. The promotion of Palantir is the ultimate betrayal of the base. Feeding everybody into a database controlled by unknown parties. This is the part where sovereigns don't act in your interest. And I think the only reason they're doing it is because you either give us more data or we start telling it what to do. So 43% of huge amount of venture capital money going into AI in Beijing, Paris, Toronto. A lot of money going into AI. Is that in your interest? And will we have to do it? Will there be a decentralized AI rebellion? You can tell I've been working on these terms all weekend, can't you? Okay, yeah, remember when Palantir was not a problem? Okay. It's not a problem until it is. And we have our friends in Australia who have just figured out how to levy their first unrealized capital gains tax. So that's called a bail-in. If you have money in your account, yeah, we'll take some of that. Thank you. Our money is our money, and your money is our money. It's not a capital gain. It's called a bail-in. They just go in and heck, God, the Orange Man's talking about doing it to foreign investors. We covered that last week. And everyone's telling me, oh, we don't need Bitcoin. We don't need Ethereum. We don't need Solana. We don't need XRP. We don't need a decentralized AI trade. We don't need a meme coin. We need it all. I'm serious. Like now. And of course, the market's dead. And of course, that's when you avoid groupthink, which is frustration, depression, resignation. I get it. Trump's crypto complicates Las Vegas wedding to Bitcoin. Okay, the Orange Man's meme coin is like a giant country club or like its own political party. If you want influence, you buy the meme coin. Previously, if you wanted influence, you would donate to a party. The meme coin is the Orange Man's own party. Is that shady? Yeah. If you got a $400 million judgment against me, I would be trying to make as much money as I can. And frankly, he knows, like everyone does, there will be new forms of money and Uncle Sugar will have to buy all of it. Treasury cash is below 400 billion. X date is July 30th. Remember last week when the Orange Man had a meeting with Powell? He's been calling him every name in the book for 3 months. Yeah, that's what the meeting was about. How to use ChatGPT to turn crypto news into trading signals. I got a great idea. How about you do whatever it is you can to learn how to make decisions in markets? Avoid groupthink. Use the AI as long as that's not groupthink because everyone's doing the same thing. So be mindful of that. But I love this because people are doing something. I know that sounds crazy. I know everyone's like, well, I'm already doing something. Do more. Do more. Do more and do it faster. Do it while everyone's sleeping and selling the market on geopolitics. What are crypto debit cards? Hey, does that look like a Gen Z guy to you? That looks like a Gen Z guy to me. They're going to figure out this crypto debit card thing, and there's going to be a gaming angle attached to that, and there's a lot of money to be made there. A lot of money to be made. Elon disappointed. The new government spending bill. I'm going to be able to get a Cybertruck at great prices if I can ever afford it. It's like sitting on dealer lots. No one wants them, which is really weird. CZ, I'm glad it's not a Harley. This is a very bullish picture. I was like, oh my God, please tell me that's not CZ on a motorcycle. It looks like he's delivering pizzas, which is great. That's super bullish. I like that. It's not like a Coinbase commercial. No commercials. No commercials, please. Okay. Crypto TA. Blah. All right. So the good news is there's no scary DeMark work on a Bitcoin 4-hour chart, but I thought we were going to take out resistance and the geopolitical situation. They're not currently interested in that. Solana, you are getting close to a 13 bottom. So you could have 1 to 2 more days of blah, and they may give you some really good prices. This guy gets liquidated again. ETH is the same thing, right? It's just this slumping, grinding thing. One more down day on a 4-hour chart, you might actually be in business. Just looking at what the general market is doing, right? Solana down 2%. Okay. It's like if we go to we go to something really tactical in Solana. mean, when you look at it down here, Solana on an 89-minute chart, I mean, this looks like a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. And you combine that with the DeMark work, I don't know, man. It's got a bottom set up to me. Just a question of, how much booga booga do you have to listen to about the geopolitical front? Because, everything was the end of the world. Every single time they do this, it's the end of the world. So if Putin doesn't push the button in the next 48 hours, like the thing about bull markets that I always talk about is that, and this is a good time to talk about it, is they always scare you out, right? Like the biggest bull markets are scaring you out on a regular basis. Like, oh, okay. Here's a whole bunch of fires, from a whole bunch of antiquated equipment that exploded. Because if they really attack something good, they would disappear. That's my opinion. Now, in the meantime, breaking news from the Eagle King, geopolitical conflict 3 is currently trending on X. I can hardly blame anybody for that. I mean, on one hand, you can say this was a bunch of old equipment that got blown up. Some of those Russian planes had propellers, for God's sakes. That's on one hand. On the other hand, if you were a Russian citizen driving down the street anywhere near these installations and you saw these huge black plumes of smoke, like, trains being derailed, like I said to the Eagle King before we went on the show, the reason the market's down is like I used to take a commuter train from Jersey into Manhattan every day. And can you imagine like derailed commuter trains on drones launched from Canada or Mexico on behalf of a foreign entity? What we would be doing? So, I mean, this is not funny at all. So I understand why the market is freaked out about this. I mean, I looked at it. I was like, is this for real? You had a lot of people waking up this morning going, wow, is this for real? And then, someone's going to tell me that we had nothing to do with it. No. Okay. Do sovereigns have your interest at heart? You let them hit it on whatever this is. Let them act out. As long as it's not the mushroom cloud, let them prove to you that you got to do this yourself. Normally, like, oh, you're on your own, it's terrible. And then normally that's a negative statement. The fact that you're on your own is a good thing because you still got your phone. You can still push the green button. You can still keep some crypto in cold storage. You can still do these things. Don't take anything for granted. I'm serious. Like, look at your husband. Look at your wife. Look at your girlfriend. Look at your brother. Look at your sister. Look at the green tree outside. Look at Bitcoin. The fact that you can actually get involved in this. People in 2008, they had no recourse. Individuals, they just had to watch the whole thing blow up. They had to watch their house lose half their value and their credit card limits get cut after they lost their job. You know what I'm saying? Like they had no recourse. You have recourse. You have ideas. You are living in Idea City. You can push a button and have an idea. You can talk to the boys at Kaizen. They got ideas out the wazoo. Oh, they got all day long. It's definitely out there. And it's out there for you. That is the market update for today. We will see you tomorrow.